And here we are for the last module in the arc, which is C for choice. And as we left off of the last one, it is your responsibility to look at all those things and make a new choice. Because when you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you got. And chances are you ain't too happy with that or satisfied with it, or it's making you cray cray, which is the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting somehow that you're going to have a different result. Just not going to happen. You want a different result, then you got to make a different choice. You want something new, you got to do something new. What you give is what you get. It's all, well, it's just simple mathematics, quantum physics, just physics in general, and just an exchange of uh, energies. What you give is what you get. So, choice. It's a big one. We always have a choice. That's another big one to really accept and take responsibility for, that we do have a choice. Because a lot of times we don't feel like we do, right? We can feel like little kids, but they said we can, and I can't do it. I want to do it. Yeah, well, today's a great example of it with this pandemic, right? Lots of things that we feel we don't have a choice about, moving around spontaneously, doing the things that we have grown accustomed to, visiting with people, traveling. I mean, you name it, right? We've now been doing it for months, for a couple seasons. And many of us thought it would be over by now. But here we are. And we, again, don't have control over those bigger things, but we do have control over ourselves. And we have a choice about how we're going to react or respond. We do have a choice of how we're going to behave. Okay. We have a choice of what we're going to do about it. Okay. And you can complain. That's a choice too. That's a choice. You can bitch and complain all you want. And as you know, it doesn't do much of anything. So you could choose to look for different solutions. Okay. You can choose, well, let's just dive into the once again the principles that I cover when I do the one-on-one work with you in the program, Making Shift Happen. Let's see, share screen. Here we go. Ba-da-da-da. And boom. So yeah, when we do this together, we again dive into the choice factor quite a bit. And what do we look at? We look at the fact that as choice principles, as we already covered, you always have a choice. So, as I was saying, a lot of times we don't feel like we have a choice. And when it really, in your head, you're telling yourself you don't have a choice. So let's take the pandemic, right? I don't have a choice. I can't go to the Bahamas, right? I can't go to my timeshare or whatever. I can't, just pop over or see maybe you have, uh, parents or loved ones in the hospital or in a home, skilled facility home or an elderly, community which has been now blocked off from anybody coming in or out. I don't have a choice. Again, it's choosing how you're going to think about it and whether you're going to react to it or respond to it. So one of the choices you always have is to choose peace. Oh, well, what the hell do you mean by that? Well, we'll go into that about choosing peace instead of this. It's a great mantra. I can choose peace instead of this. And it's true. You can choose peace instead of getting all riled up and pissed off and this isn't right and I don't understand and I don't agree and this is bullshit and the whole bit. Or you can choose peace and guess what? You can also choose to breathe. You can just choose to breathe and go, it is what it is, and it's about acceptance, right? Another thing you can choose to do, which is a great mantra, and I had to do a lot of times when it came to our kiddo, because I just didn't know what was left to do. Kind of going through the whole list of everything I was being taught to do and all the stuff I knew from my spiritual practice, and I sometimes would still be left feeling like I had no choice and I didn't know what the hell to do. Guess what? There's a mantra right there to breathe into. I choose to look at this differently, and guess what? All of us want to be unconditionally loved. That's the truth of the matter. All of us want to be unconditionally loved. And when you think about that, if you unconditionally, really unconditionally love someone, it doesn't matter. It's not a condition. It's not, oh, if you act this way, then I'll love you. And when you act that way, then I don't love you. No, fact is, I'd have to look at the fact I still loved him. I didn't like him. I certainly didn't like him at all, but I still loved him. And so you can choose and ask help to just, I choose to look at this with love, you know, because that is encompassing also compassion and patience. And, there are other things that are outside of your realm of what you can control. And it's just like, I can just choose to, I wish to see things differently. I wish to see things differently. And by breathing and just going into that, guess what? You're already putting it out there again. What you give is what you get. So by bringing yourself to peace and choosing peace instead of that, about asking for, sometimes divine intervention, honestly, right? I wish to see things differently. I wish to see this with love. That helps. Sometimes it kind of comes in and you can, right? The other thing, another choice principle is what you can choose to practice the golden rule. So even though someone, and how many times do we tell our kiddos this, and if you don't have kids, I mean, you might be a teacher or you have nieces and nephews, grandkids. Well, you would have had kids if you have grandkids. No, that's not necessarily true. Anyway, it's the golden rule, right? Treating people the way you would like to be treated. So, with respect, with dignity, with understanding, with patience, with kindness, right? All of those things. So, even though, just like you say, just because they treated you like that and said that to you doesn't mean now you have the right to go and do it. I mean, you can make that choice. That's your choice. But then again, be prepared, as with the responsibility of taking responsibility for your actions, that you're going to pay the consequences for it. Okay. And as we looked at that, sometimes the consequence is not feeling so great about yourself, and also having people look at you in that aspect too, right? So it's always a choice. So we talk about making a powerful choice, okay, which comes stem from, and this is one of those deeper dives of looking into these things of, who do you want to be, right? How do you want to feel? Um, and then that comes to like, how would you like other people to feel about you, and when they're around you, feel like you're being, because again, what you give is what you get. So how do you want to be? But the other thing is, and the choice principles is like always realizing you can make a different choice. So guess what? Sometimes we make choices and it did come from a new or different place, and we did it a number of times, and sometimes it doesn't work out the way we thought it was going to, right? Maybe it doesn't land with the people that you're trying it with. Uh, Maybe sometimes you're like, I don't know where I got this from, or it's not working for me. Hey, that's possible. Sometimes you got to shift it in a different direction. So, you know what? You can make a different choice, and it's okay. Give yourself permission to make a different choice. Okay. Not tied to it. Back to, again, making a different choice can be asking that same mantra: I'm willing to see things differently. I'm willing to do things differently. And it's not just saying it, it's then taking that action afterwards. So, willing to see and do things differently, maybe. And I've had to do it myself. If you really are willing to see and do things differently, sometimes that means getting a mentor or getting a coach, signing up for like some kind of group activity, or, sometimes it does mean therapy, uh, doing something different you haven't done. So you can say till the cows come home that you're willing to do it or see it differently, but then you have to take the action. You have to see that through. And sometimes that means really radically doing something differently. And I can tell you, I've had a number of mentors and coaches, ones I go back to, and sometimes it's like, okay, now they brought me to a certain point, and now I'm ready for this like new level of, awareness and consciousness and working through things, you know. And there's ones I always go back to, you know maybe I'm just not with them full time, but I always know I can go back and use their materials and the things I learned from them and revisit. So those are things. It's another thing of doing something different. Then the other thing is you can always make a new choice, right? Again, doing something completely new and different. Sometimes it can be a complete 180, sometimes it's just pressing the reset button again. It's pretend it's like it's just a dry, when those dry eraser boards, those white ones, right? It's just, you know what? I I've tried all these things right now, and you know what? Let's wipe it clean. Let's just press reset and start all over again. Okay, just like right, easy peasy. And even a deeper conversation, of which we will not have here, is in all of these choices. Another choice is about acceptance. That's a choice too. Accepting what is, okay? Accepting that it is as it is, as Eckhart told. It is as it is. It is. Many times there's nothing we can do to change it from what it is. We can go like forward, deciding how we're gonna, again, respond or react, and how we're gonna look at it, how we want to reframe it, what we want to do. But there's the acceptance part. Somebody passed away, you got divorced, you lost that job, or you quit that job, you lost the home, you sold the home, you made a move, whatever it is. It's accepting what is, okay? And surrender, not giving up, but the art of letting go, which is a completely different thing. Surrender has nothing to do about giving up. If anything, you're giving up is giving up the struggle and the battle against what is. Okay, surrendering is letting it go that it is as it is, and letting go of trying to make it something other than what it is. Yeah, surrender is just a deep level of acceptance. And if you're, again, uh, giving anything up, it's giving up, honestly, it's giving up your pain and suffering needlessly that you put yourself through. That's really what it is. That's really what surrender is. It's just like giving up those tensions and, yeah, things that do not serve you. How about that? I mean, I have that right here on my arm here. It's surrender that keeps you from Shiva, meaning your higher self. It's, yeah, whatever does not serve you, you need to surrender that. Give it up, let it go. Whether it's your stinking thinking, maybe it's people you're hanging around with who only bring you down and don't build you up. And maybe it's a job that you really don't like. I mean, it could be anything. A relationship that you're in that you need to get out of, a friendship that has, gone its course. And again, it doesn't have to be dramatic or, filled with pain. And it's just, again, making a new choice of handling things in a responsible manner, in a respectful manner, in the way you would want somebody to handle it with you, right? That golden rule. So let's see what else is there. And I'm just going to cover a couple slides that I did uh, during the webinar last month on choice. So it's just going to be some some quotes, I guess, just to open up again about choice, because again, this is the mini version of the ARC method. Again, if you choose to work with me one-on-one, we will go into this. And in the past, in a 6-week format, it's taking one session for each part. Awareness, responsibility, choice. Taking one for the breath, and then we decide when we're working one-on-one, like how do you want to handle the next 2 sessions. Sometimes it's deeper dives into certain things. Sometimes it's just like looking at your life and what's going on right now and applying the arc to it and seeing, hey, I tried this, it didn't work. What would you suggest? Or this is coming up for me and I'm not really sure how to deal with it. Or like I've done with past clients, one time we used one of the sessions to make a self-care practice, basically like deciding what kind of meditations she wanted to do and what kind of affirmations and things, and like kind of set something up for her to do it. Another one had, some really big life decisions to be making, and we ran it through the ARC method a couple times for her to really get, a deeper understanding about herself and what she truly wanted out of the situation so she could get into that. So let's look real quick here about choice. You always have a choice. I'm gonna put this over there. I don't know if you guys see my little box or not, or where it shows up. I know I can move it on mine, but I don't know where it ends up on yours. Okay, so uh, there's one quote. Take time to accept responsibility. Your life is exactly that. It's your life. It is created by you. You are constantly making choices, constantly creating new experiences. And although we can be affected by circumstances which can seem to be completely out of our control, essentially, we decide the direction in which we walk. So, again, like with things of the pandemic, okay, things that are out of your control with other loved ones in situations that you have absolutely no control over, it still is your responsibility about how you choose to respond or react to it. And that is all yours. Pima Chodron, I love her. She's another a female Buddhist monk, and she talks about inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. That's a big one. Jesse, um, in essence, has become one of my greatest teachers because you know what? I could sit there and be all in control, and then one thing would happen, and then I would just lose it. And I was like, really again? And it was to realize that I did not have that inner peace going, and I allowed it to be disrupted by somebody who was completely unconscious in their awareness, right? Unaware of, you know, w- w- what their actions, how it affected others. I mean, completely in a different state. I mean, so, but I was allowing that. And it was for me to understand that I am the one who had to cultivate that inner peace within, to not allow just one person or one event to completely destroy our day. And how many times do we do that? I mean, admit it to yourself, something happened, and it could even be on the way to work. Again, that a-hole who cut you off, and now you're still going on about it, right? Or about the traffic and about this or about the construction that's still not working, right? And it just ruins your whole day. Why? Why? No, let it go. You can choose to think about it differently. So another thing I choose, I like this is a very powerful um, affirmation: to live by choice, not by chance, to be motivated, not manipulated, to be useful and not used, to make changes, not excuses, to excel, not compete. I choose self esteem, not self pity. I choose to listen to my inner voice, not to the random opinions of others. I choose to do the things that you won't so I can continue to do the things you can't. That's from the wisdomwarrior.com, kind of got snipped off there, cropped a little too closely. But yeah, that again, it's our choice, and it's really a good one to like look at. Um, yeah, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's look at the next ones here. So you can choose what you are having and not having. Okay, you can choose peace and happiness just because you can. That's the other thing. We have this tendency to believe things outside of us and circumstances need to line up. The weather needs to be just so. This person needs to act this way. I need to have eaten this or gotten the X amount of hours of sleep, and then I can be peaceful and happy. the honest truth is that you can just choose to be happy and be peaceful. And it comes with that conscious breath to get connected to that source, your soul essence. And just be right there and being thankful for your breath, and being thankful for your life, and just being in the present moment and not letting all of the, the three ring show, um, take you out of that, right? So you can choose to be happy and peaceful just because you can, all right? And you can always make a new choice. You can always make a different choice. Again, you can choose what you want to be. You can choose how you want to feel, and you can choose who you want to be. Okay. They are not, again, contingent on external circumstances or events or people. It is your choice, and it is an internal choice. It's an internal shift. And once again, you can always choose again and again. All right. So decide to make a conscious choice. All right. Mr. Wayne Dyer, again, with everything that has happened to you, you can either feel sorry for yourself or treat what has happened as a gift. Everything is either an opportunity to grow or an obstacle to keep you from growing. You get to choose. So, if you haven't heard that expression, life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And this is in that essence of looking at it as a gift because it is an opportunity to grow. It's something for us to learn from, expand from. Challenges are what make us grow. The comfort zone does not. And it's those things too that then allow you empathy for others who have been through it. And then you can help others having been through it yourself. Louise Hay, a beautiful woman, no longer with us, but her work continues, her legacy. I choose to feel good about myself each day. Every morning, I remind myself that I can make the choice to feel good. This is a new habit for me to cultivate. So, yeah, waking up in the morning and knowing you can just choose that today's going to be a great day. It doesn't matter what happens. Sometimes it's hard to believe at times, but it can happen and you can still have a great day and you can still choose to, be grateful for the day that you have. And those mantras I was talking to you about come from A Course in Miracles, which is a course. And you can look that up. And so some of these are taken directly from the Course in Miracles, lesson 21 and 28. And then there's the top one is from Gabrielle Bernstein, who like paraphrased the lessons to say, I am willing to see things differently. I am willing to see love, in the situation at the time when you're having it, right? You may not be feeling it. Um, you may not even really be seeing it, but your ability to like breathe and say that I'm willing to see things differently, that I'm willing to see love, right? In that situation does in and of itself shift it. You're not going back, how I was saying, into those loops to those negative habits, reinforcing those. No, now you're shifting it because you're deciding you're not going to do that and you're making another choice. Even though you don't see what it is or how it's going to happen, you already have by breathing and saying these mantras. I am willing to see things differently. I'm willing to see love. And so lesson 21 is I am determined to see things differently. And 28 is above all else, I want to see things differently. Right? And I know another one in there too is I can choose peace instead of this, is another mantra that comes from A Course in Miracles. Okay. And if all else fails, you can always choose to stop it. Stop it. Okay. Stop it. Zip it. Right. And then what? Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Hand on your heart if you need to. Close your eyes if you need to. Don't forget to smile. And just big belly breaths. In with the good. Out with what no longer serves you. Making a new choice, right? And smiling. Or is there another choice? No, there is another choice. Everybody gets a timeout. We've had to do that here in our house quite a few times. You could call it timeout or you can call it time in, checking in with yourself, right? A time in, inward introspection, getting in touch with your inner being, with your soul essence. All right. So sometimes the best choice is to just call a big TO and everyone go to their separate spaces and do what they need to shift their energy. Okay. It could be choosing to put some music on, get out your journal, read a book, color, go for a run, go for a hike, go for a bike ride. Physical stuff's always good. And playing music is also great. It's another way to shift the energy. Dancing, doing some exercises, stretching, yoga. Yeah. And of course, breathing, a body scan. Um, some people like to take a nap. So, you know, anything again is much better than repeating the negative habits that we know do not serve us or others that we love. And not only just others that we love because we're in our workspaces and stuff, and remembering that those people too deserve to be treated with respect. Again, the golden rule is always in effect. Okay, you would want people to treat you in a certain manner, and that also begins with you. As Mahatma Gandhi had said, be the change that you want to see. Okay, it does begin with you. So, again, you have no control over anyone else but yourself. And if you want to be a control freak, then be a control freak over your thoughts, feelings, emotions, behaviors, and actions. And therefore, you can be in more control of the results that you get. Okay. And the people that you basically draw in to yourself because of the energy that you're giving out. So that concludes the ARC method, the mini course. And it's been nice to present it to you. Thank you for being patient with this different kind of format to do this in. But I thought it would be helpful to get it out to some people who wanted to know more. You may not have the time. That again is a choice because as I've I heard it said to me too in a different way, which kind of stings, is instead of saying I don't have the time, choose to say I choose not to make it a priority because if it was a priority, you would make the time, right? We do that a lot for the people around us. We sacrifice a lot of things for other people, and we have a tendency not to put ourselves first. And honestly, that's another thing that gets taught in the ARC method. And I do spend some time in the one on one, as I said, taking care of yourself, the self care and self love piece. And that's really, really pivotal and something I had to learn the hard way too by seeing that I wasn't doing it for myself. And I still have tons of improvement to do in that area. But I'm a lot better than I was before. And bringing Ruben into the picture of his awareness of it too and taking care of himself, we get to call each other on it when we believe that the other is not giving themselves the self-care, self-love that they are entitled to and become an advocate for that. So sometimes you got to do it for yourself, which is some of the hardest things to do is to stand up for yourself and what you actually deserve. And you are entitled to, you really are, to some self-care and self-love. So with that, thank you again. And if you enjoyed this, please reach out and let me know. I have contact information in the stuff that I've sent you. Always looking for feedback. So again, if there are some areas that you thought could be improved upon, please help me grow and know how I can present this better or other material that would be helpful to you in these situations. And again, with this little thing that you got a free, that was another bonus, a free session with me, one-on-one session. So make sure you're journaling and doing things while you're doing these exercises, writing down what you may want to bring to our session to work on. And then there's always the discussion, should you choose to entertain the uh, you know, possibility of working together one-on-one, then we can discuss that too. All right. So thank you so much for, accepting this and trying something new and different. because getting curious is the first part, and you made a huge shift just in that, in and of itself. So please practice all the ARC method, and if anything else, please do your deep breathing once you figure out that you're getting triggered or you already are, okay? Think about all those pieces about being aware, being responsible, making a new choice, okay? And deciding who it is that you want to be, right? And with that, I'm going to say, as I always do, to enjoy the rest of your never before lived day and stay happy, healthy, positive. Thanks again. Cheers.